Hey guys, welcome back to another Minecraft Dungeons video, and today I'm bringing you guys a complete beginner's guide. I'm going to be giving you guys about everything you need to know when starting the game. I know a lot of you will be pointing out that this video has been made several times by other content creators and websites, but I thought to put my own spin into it for the sake of my own records and also for my archives, so I hope you don't mind. And since this is a beginner's guide, I won't be going too in-depth on the gameplay in terms of late game stuff, including important things to unlock, since my goal is more or less to still allow viewers to play blind, but with just a little bit more awareness so they don't fall into pitfalls or beginner's traps. Then I might do an advanced guide for people who are looking into going the distance with the game. One more thing, I'm going to be very quick with my explanations on things, so to keep the video as concise as possible, it will be kind of long, but I'll have timestamps in the description below if you want to skip to a specific part. But I do promise to make more specialized videos for each aspect of Minecraft Dungeons in the future. So if you're looking forward to that, a rating would be much appreciated, and subscribe for more Minecraft Dungeons content in the future. But for now, let's get started with the beginner's guide. First, I want to talk about equipment, arguably the most important aspect of Minecraft Dungeons. It gives you your power level, provides you with necessary tools to have a better dungeon clearing experience, and is literally what will keep you alive throughout the game. What you have available to you in terms of gear is your melee weapon, your ranged weapon, and armor. Just like in the original Minecraft, your ranged weapon will usually consist of a bow or a crossbow, but unlike regular Minecraft, you'll have a lot more freedom in your choices compared to the usual sword or axe, as well as your armor. Each melee weapon brings its own benefits to the table in terms of its damage output, attack speed, and range. For instance, the sword provides a balance of all three parameters, but the glaive sacrifices attack speed for higher power and area coverage. Daggers, on the other hand, reduce damage output and reach in exchange for higher attack speed. It's really up to you to decide which one benefits your fighting style, and despite Minecraft Dungeons' very simplistic gameplay on appearance, there's actually a lot of depth to playstyle, take my word for it. As for your ranged weapons, they swap out the range parameter for your starting ammo. Bows in particular have a lot of depth to them. You can have exploding bows, bows that shoot a volley of arrows, you can also have bows that can charge for an incredible amount of damage, some that can bounce off enemies. Regular bows focus on precise and hard-hitting shots, and crossbows prefer rate of fire and crowd control. It's in your best interest to actually have two bows to use, one for single target usage whenever you go up against a boss or a tough enemy, and one for multi-target usage, especially when you're dealing with huge hordes of enemies. The higher you go up in difficulty, you're usually going to run into that situation quite a bit. One more thing, bows are way more effective in this game than they are in regular Minecraft, to the point where a good bow is just as valuable to have as a good melee weapon. So, if you come into this game thinking bows are not going to be as effective as swords, trust me, you really want to have a good bow for this one. Lastly, we have armors. Unlike regular Minecraft where armor is purely meant for defense, some of these armors can augment certain playstyles, like providing damage reduction, some give bonus range damage, and others can even give things like lifesteal, soul generation, more movement speed, even cooldown reduction for artifacts. I'll get to that in a bit. So if you prefer to be more melee focused, then opt for armors which provide you with boosted defense or even attributes like lifesteal. And for those who want to main ranged, then look for armors that can give you bonus projectile damage, more arrows, movement speed and stuff to kite enemies and keep your quiver stocked with arrows. Equipment in Minecraft Dungeons is very dependent on synergy, so pay close attention to the various bonus stats and perks of each armor. Moving on, we have artifacts. Think of artifacts as supplemental tools you would carry along with you, such as say ender pearls, splash potions, so on and so forth in regular Minecraft. In this game though, there are items that come with all sorts of cool specs. There are some conventional ones you see, such as special quivers that change your arrows. We have boots that give you a burst of movement speed, items that can summon pets to fight for you, and even something called soul weapons, which I'll touch on real soon. Just like your equipment, you want your artifacts to synergize well with your playstyle. For example, I prefer to play as a ranged fighter, so I stock my artifacts with things that give me extra range pressure. Firecracker arrows to add a little more kick to my shots, maybe some soul weapons that attack from range, just a couple things to make me a little bit more of a threat and to contribute a lot more from range than just shooting arrows. But if you're melee focused, then you can arm yourself with artifacts that augment or support getting up close and personal, such as protection totems or even items that boost your DPS. Artifacts each come with their own cooldown, so you want to be careful to save them for when the situations call for them. A subset of artifacts are called soul weapons, items that don't have a cooldown, but instead focus on using an ammo system of souls. With these artifacts equipped, every time you defeat an enemy unit, they drop a soul for you to collect, and depending on how many souls you have, that artifact will either be very strong or very weak. Soul weapons are really fun to use. You got lasers, lightning rods, explosions, it's a really fun time. They're not necessarily like better than regular artifacts. In fact, I don't really use them too much myself as others, but it's generally recommended to have one of your artifact slots be a soul weapon since they are super powerful, especially when you get into harder difficulties where you have more enemies so you can harvest more souls. You'll notice early on that there are different types of equipment rarities. We have common, rare, and unique. Common equipments provide no supplemental benefits to them, so your best bet is to try to get rare or unique versions of equipment since they usually give more stats or some other benefit. Rare equipment is about what you'll be using for the majority of your adventure in default difficulty. They're basically upgraded versions of their common counterparts, but the important rarity to watch out for are unique items. Uniques are much harder to come by, but they bring much higher stats. Some equips are always unique and carry special properties exclusive only to that item. Naturally, your goal is to get as many unique items as possible, so keep an eye out for them. You'll also notice that equips come with their own set of enchantments. In Minecraft Dungeons, equips come with a preset list of enchants compared to regular Minecraft, where most of the time you get them at vanilla and you could put on just about any enchantment on your item of that category of your choice. This adds a whole new element of random chance and luck as you make your way through the game, since you could get two of the same items but have completely different enchantments. Every time you level up, you gain one enchantment point, which you can then use on your melee weapon, armor, and ranged weapon. Artifacts cannot be enchanted, by the way. Each of those equipments can come up with up to 3 sets of enchantments. Once you select one enchantment from a set, that is what the item will have forever, so make your choices count. They're sort of like skill trees in your standard MMORPGs. Also, enchantment points are completely refunded to you when you salvage that item. So don't feel like you have to conserve your points if you ever feel the need to upgrade your items. If you ever scrap an item, they will reimburse you all of your enchantment points later on, so you can feel free to use all of your enchantment points whenever possible. I'll make sure to cover the enchanting system in greater detail in a separate video because there is a lot to talk about, but putting it simply, every weapon comes with their own unique set of enchantments, so you'll want to keep an eye out for which abilities pique your interest. They can drastically change your gameplay and playstyle and add kind of another level of creativity to how you want to build your character. In fact, some enchantments synergize very well with artifacts, which then synergize with weapons. There's a lot of building you want to do there. Lastly, all of your equipment and artifacts combine together to give you a power level rating. Your power level is distinct from your character level by averaging the strengths of all 6 items. In fact, power level is much more different than player level since you could be a level 50 player but have really weak equipment and then therefore be unsuited to take on harder dungeons. Vice versa, you can be a level 10 player but have a power level of 50. Although, for the most part, the game tries its best to keep your power level the same as your character level, like, sort of around the same, but there are cases where you could have a higher character level or a higher power level. All in all though, I would say your power level is more important because the higher it is, the more efficiently and easily you can clear higher difficulty dungeons, and then subsequently you can get higher level equipment to continue increasing your level. Next aspect of the game I want to talk about are emeralds, the in-game currency you have at your disposal. Emeralds drop from enemies, chests, these emerald vases as well, spawn throughout dungeons, and their main purpose as of right now is just to allow you to purchase equips and artifacts from the 2 NPCs in camp. Spend at any point you can and salvage any equips you won't be using to get more emeralds because the Blacksmith and Wandering Trader can both give you really awesome loot if you get lucky. In fact, I actually got quite a few unique items just from the Blacksmith by grinding a lot of emeralds and trading them in. That's roughly about it. There's no other place to spend your emeralds as far as I'm aware. I mean, maybe in the future they'll bring more NPCs, but for now, that's all you have to use. I'll be covering the best places to grind for emeralds in a different video, so stay tuned for that. Next part of the video is Dungeons, the main gameplay portion of Minecraft Dungeons, hence, its very obvious name. If you have played any Diablo or Dungeon Crawler or roguelike game, I probably don't even have to explain this section to you, but for those of you who haven't, let me briefly explain to you how Minecraft Dungeons works. First is difficulty. There are 3. Default, Adventure, and Apocalypse, or basically speaking easy, medium, and hard. The higher the difficulty, the more enemies spawn that can hurt you much harder than you can hurt them. More importantly, the higher level gear you can also get. To my knowledge, some secrets can only be locked in higher difficulty, so there's that for you as well. To unlock Adventure mode, you have to complete Default mode, and to unlock Apocalypse mode, you have to complete Adventure. Don't feel too turned off by the fact that you have to beat the game 3 times over, since it only took me about 8 to 10 hours to beat Default, and you can probably complete it in faster time if you just went purely for completion and ignored all the side quests, but it is definitely worthwhile since higher difficulties do reward you with better loot and also, like I said before, some secrets. Minecraft Dungeons has so many secrets that even its secrets have secrets, so you'll be kept very, very busy despite the game's short campaign length. Also, true to its genre, Minecraft Dungeons layout changes, as well as similar to the likes of, say, like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. The enemies and items you get in dungeons, they stay the same, but you won't be going through the same road every time. That's awesome because you always get to go through something different instead of autopiloting through. In fact, I believe certain secrets included in each dungeon don't even spawn all the time. So you may have to run a dungeon once or twice more to unlock everything. Some might complain about that, but honestly, I kinda like it because it gives you a reason to go back in. And while we're on the subject of changing layouts, a good tip is that you should explore every part of the map. Don't always just follow the quest indicator because a lot of branching paths could give you extra emeralds, more loot, and even the aforementioned secrets, so it would behoove you to explore everything. It's also why I recommend having an artifact or equip that grants you movement speed, since I understand it could get, rather tiresome having to walk around everywhere. No, ender pearls do not exist in this game, unfortunately. Believe me, I wish they did. One last thing to talk about central gameplay revolves around your camp. Every now and then, if you explore the campsite, you'll find things unlocked that weren't there before, such as chests with emeralds in them or even areas that you couldn't access earlier. So every time you complete a new dungeon, be sure to go and explore your campsite to see what's new. Later on, something does actually happen that is important for completion that you need to look into, so be ready for that. Okay, this is getting a little long. I'll try to wrap it up quickly with this last part. Multiplayer. It's heavily encouraged in Minecraft Dungeons. In fact, if you're looking for people to play with, you can either head on over to Minecraft Dungeons subreddit. They have a mega thread and I think a Discord server where you can form parties with other players. Reason you want to play with other players is because team composition in Minecraft Dungeons can be vital for your success. You can have one player be dedicated towards melee, or maybe two, drawing aggro while someone else plays the ranged DPS, and then a fourth member to sort of run support. They can load up artifacts that buff party members and heal them or crowd control enemy units. This makes a lot of boss battles so much more fun, and in fact that can be really good for survival too. See, in standard single player, if you wipe out, you lose a life. But in multiplayer, if one of your party members is KO'd, you can go over to them and resuscitate them without compromising your team's total lives. Essentially meaning, as long as one person stays alive, it can greatly increase your survivability in completing harder dungeons. The best part is you don't have to fight over drops since all of you get your own piece of the pie. One other thing, at the time this video is released, you cannot play with other players if you are playing on different platforms. So, PC cannot play with Xbox, who can't play with Nintendo Switch. I don't know if there's one for PS4, but in the upcoming future, crossplay will be instated, allowing you to play with anyone who owns the game. So if you're upset that your friend has one, let's say for Switch, and you only have one for Xbox, just be patient and you will be able to play with your friends soon. And that's just about all there is to the beginner guide. I really hope it was helpful for those who needed it, and for those who didn't, I hope it was entertaining. Minecraft Dungeons is a great game. I'm sure if you ask anyone who's played it extensively, they can agree. It's not just some cheap spin-off of a popular brand. I really think it's a game that you will not regret investing time into. I certainly do expect Mojang to keep releasing new expansions to the game because I think there's a lot of potential going for it. I always loved the PvP and combat aspect in Minecraft, despite, its rather monotonous tempo. I was a huge factions player back in the day, and seeing how much more there is to combat in dungeons is awesome. If you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comment section below, and if you also have any other beginner tips you think would be important to share, love to hear them as well. Once again, if you're looking forward to more Minecraft Dungeons content, please be sure to leave a like on this video. I really appreciate the support, and subscribe for future videos. You can also join my Discord server in the description below, and follow me on Twitch if you want to catch my Minecraft Dungeon live streams. I stream on both YouTube and Twitch. It's up to you for whichever one you want to go to, but I think Twitch is a little bit better. But that's it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon in the next video. Take care.